What's up, everybody? My name is Beats Blaine. Today I'm going to be doing a breakdown of how I use Machine in Ableton Live. Yeah, let's dig right into it. Happy Halloween. Let's get it. Um, I'm in Ableton Live here. I am using a beat that I recently submitted to a beat competition last week on a Discord. I'll link it below. Hip Hop Haven Discord, big shout out. I ended up winning the beat contest, and it was pretty cool since I've never really made a beat quite like this, and I found a workflow that works really well for me, utilizing what I know with Machine and what I know with Ableton, and making them come together. So let's get into it. What I started with was obviously the sample. It was a beat contest. We all used the same sample. So I created a Machine track right here, simply just by dragging Machine 2 as a VST into Ableton. So that's this guy right here. So we'll go ahead and open that up. I pretty much start all of my beats the same way, utilizing Machine. So what I did was I worked my Machine workflow, how I use it as a standalone, but opening it up as a VST, I was able to route it to other channels and capture it as audio tracks. So I'm actually using no MIDI from Machine, none of that crazy routing. All I'm doing is, let me exit out of this. So I'm taking this Machine track and routing it to all of these ones. So you can see I labeled them chops. So for example, chops 1, you just drop it down, you choose your Machine track. So this is where the audio is going to come from. So as you can see, as soon as I press a pad on the Machine, I get some audio. So I found that pretty cool. And that's pretty much my workflow with Machine and Ableton in a nutshell. It doesn't really work if you're trying to record MIDI, specifically if you're using Machine mainly for drums, but I never used it for drums anyways. I always use it to just chop my stuff up. Yeah, sometimes I use it for drums. I don't know though, not that much. I normally just use Splice and drag and drop wave files for drums. But either way, we'll get into the drums. Let me close that down. So we'll go back into Machine here, and I'll show you what I did with Machine. So here's the sample. Flavorful sample. Big shout out to Hip Hop Haven. It was a really fun competition. What I do is I open up sampling mode on Machine. I go over to edit. I find this part that I want to edit, and I just put it like that. So that's the ending of the song. The entire song is great. So I got a little bit deeper into the cut there, and then what I do from here, this is actually the intro part. So I was just playing this out on a pad, and then this first part, I slice it up into a whole bunch of different chops, as you can see. And then, one thing that I do within Machine, if you're wanting to know how to chop samples nicely, select all, drop the polyphony to 1. I'm using an MK2, by the way. It's pretty sick. I don't know. I want the MK3, but I don't got the money. Then you drop down into the pad mode and choke group 1. So it's just choking the samples. And that's pretty much it. And then you just, after that, it's just, it's your ear that decides whether or not you're going to make anything cool. So I just found some chops that I liked. And then again, I just routed it into here. So let's give a listen to the first chops I came up with. So keeping it pretty light, when it comes to sampling, utilizing this method, I like to leave a lot of headroom, because I like to throw effects on my tracks, and we'll dig deeper into that. But as you can see, there's nothing currently on this track, just a tuner. It helps me get a reference of what maybe the key would be of the song, because I like to play my own bass parts. A lot of the time I play my own guitar parts on my tracks as well. Yeah, so those were the first chops. If we move over to chops number 2, the exact same, but I utilize this technique that I use with my guitars of recording the same part but in 2 different takes. I think it adds a lot of flavor. It keeps things off timing. I'm not really a big fan of like quantizing and keeping everything robotic. There's no energy, there's no soul to that. Yeah, so that's what I did in this case. Normally with guitars I pan them left and right. With the chops, kept them in the center. I figured there was already enough stereo imaging from the original sample going on. Yeah, so let's dig into chops 3 here. This is where I flipped it up a little bit. So I went back into Machine. I threw on a couple things on top of the sample, mainly just high pass filters, and a little bit of EQing within Machine, so very basic stuff. And this is just to add a little bit of harmony on top of the samples. And I did some cool stuff with it. So I threw a flanger on it. I ran it through Guitar Rig. This is what's going on in Guitar Rig. So just a nice cool Plex head. Threw on an EQ, a tape echo, vintage verb, grain delay. It's actually a guitar preset that I made called Dream Your Guitar. It's for like bedroom pop, lo-fi, ethereal, dreamy guitar sounds. Yeah, so that's on there. I also use Ableton's Beat Repeat, one of my favorite things right now, one of my favorite effects. Getting saucy with it. And then I recently just got Brower Motion. Makes it flip around in your head. And to remind you, this isn't the main sample. This is just to add harmony, and I wanted it to be from the song. And yeah, a bunch of cool things started happening when I played on top of the track with it. So Chops 3 was actually created a little bit down the line just to add some character to the beat. And to top it all off, I threw on a compressor. So that's mainly what I did for the samples. After all the samples came together, selected all of them, Command G, it groups it, get it in the chopped group, throw in an EQ, compressor, a J37 from Waves, also fantastic. Adds a lot of grit to it. I love grit. Vinyl grit, crackle, noise, all that lo-fi stuff. So I threw in Abbey Road's vinyl on top of it, and just a warm tube distortion. So this is what all the samples sound like after all that stuff on it. Yeah, most of the stuff you can figure out with just stock Ableton plugins if you're just using Ableton. I need a little bit more low end after this part, so started playing my own bass on it. Not too much going on here. Compressor, and of course, like I do on every bass, the Eddie Kramer. It's great. Just tinker with it. You'll find the good settings. There's not that many knobs. It's fun to use. If you're ever trying to learn a plugin, just go extremely drastic with it. Try and break it. I tested plugins for a number of years, and I just try to break them all the time. Sometimes you get some real cool stuff. So after that, I just brought in the drums.